Hi, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review. Let's talk about your next, the Lionsgate Limited 4K edition. A movie I saw in theaters, own on Blu-ray, and picked up the 4K when Lionsgate Limited was having a sale. If you haven't seen this, please just go watch it. It's a pretty dark horror film, really well done, really like how it ends. Surprised they haven't made a sequel to it. Director Adam Wingard made this movie. He got his start making low-budget horror movies. This movie was made for $1 million, went on to gross $26.9 million, 26 times its budget. No major stars in the film except Barbara Crampton. You've seen her in a whole bunch of horror movies and such. What can I say about this without giving a whole lot away? People go to a house to visit family, girlfriends, boyfriends, haven't met each other, that kind of thing. There's some, as there usually is, conversations in the car on the way, that kind of stuff. There is an intro. I won't talk about it. And then what begins is kind of one of those home invasion thrillers. People with masks start killing people. What's really interesting about the film is how they start giving you the knowledge of what's going on. I had not seen this in years, probably a decade. It's been that long since it came out on home video, so I'm watching this for the first time. By the way, it's a good 4K, and it's interesting how many extras are on it, but we'll talk about that in a second. So as the movie goes through, they parse a little bit more information, a little bit more information, a little bit more. And by the time you have the full picture, you realize this whole thing, it falls together like a great puzzle, like a great one of these kind of movies should. And then at the end, there's one of those, that can't happen. Oh, that just happened. And then it ends. High marks, really. I enjoyed the ride because I had forgotten some of the twists and turns. Once it got started, I remembered the location. I remembered kind of who was going to be like the final person and that kind of thing. This went on to win some awards. It's very highly regarded as far as reviews go. I think it was like 80% on Rotten Tomatoes back in the day. So why did I pick it up in 4K? It's not really, as a $1 million production, it's not like I'm going to get Star Wars from this film. Well, one of the reasons was one of my boutique labels in a foreign country, I think it's Australian label, Second Sight, put out a very nice box set with a whole bunch of extras in the book, but it's pretty pricey, at least more than I wanted for this movie, and I was just going to rewatch my Blu-ray. Well, one night, a week or two ago, Lionsgate was having a sale, and they put this on sale. This was the first time they'd put any of their limited edition stuff on sale, and I wanted to order Freaky Tales too, so 2 movies in one box, in my thinking, that spreads out the cost of the shipping, makes it a little cheaper for each movie. Why not? I was going to order the more expensive version, but I'll order this. It'll be fine. I mean, this is not one of my favorite movies of all time, right? And the price was right. So the Steelbook came in, as I mentioned in the last review, with more bubble wrap than I've ever seen in a package in my entire life. You couldn't fit more bubble wrap into the package. Packed in there, just shoved in there. They were so well protected in the middle, cocoon like gold Fabergé eggs. Anyway, it came out flawless. For those that collect the Lionsgate Steelbooks that have been put out for years now, if you remember back at Best Buy, if you'd get the first run of the Steelbook, there would be a laser etch inside that would say first pressing. Well, this says first pressing. I would imagine all the stuff that comes from Lionsgate Limited say first pressing because I don't think they've done any second pressings. Maybe if they run out of those Quentin Tarantino movies or something, they will. So the Steelbook is a very nice design. You take off the slipcover and you see the masks and such. It comes with 2 discs. I think the Blu-ray is the original Blu-ray, and it has quite a bit of extras on it. There are interviews with Adam and the writer, the producers, that kind of thing, some of the stars. But on the 4K, there is a whole bunch of new extras, stuff that was never included in the original. I mean, I'm not usually a big fan of putting extras on the 4K, but this is a 90-minute movie, so there's a lot of space left over on a 4K if the movie's only an hour and a half long. And they did it. There are some really great extras. So here's the interesting thing. I told you about that more expensive Second Sight edition from Australia. It's like $45-50. It has to be one of my favorite movies to pay that kind of money, right? So when the first extra started, it said, Second Sight Films presents. All of the extras that have been added to this set, that have been added to this 4K, are from the Second Sight set. I would imagine that this 4K disc is the same. What Second Sight started doing last year is they duplicate everything on the Blu-rays to the 4Ks because their Blu-rays are region locked. So I can't play the Blu-rays here, but I don't mind buying the box set. If all the extras are also on the 4K, well, I just don't need the Blu-ray. If everything's on the 4K, plus I get the book and the posters and the hard box and all that, I like those special editions. But this obviously is that disc from that set, but obviously with the artwork from the current edition. But all of them said, productions of Second Sight, so there's some deal that Lionsgate and Second Sight have. Interesting. Save some money and get everything but the book in the hard case. There you go. Anyway, I think it's a great horror film of recent times, and obviously I didn't talk about Adam Wingard. He got to start directing low-budget horror movies like this one. He also directed the last 2 Godzilla Kong movies. He's graduated to $150 million budgets and that kind of $200 million budgets. So we'll see what going forward. I heard a rumor that he was going to do some sequels to his horror movies or maybe get back into horror. We'll see. But I don't know. Once you start making giant movies like this, can you make a tiny movie? Would your budget not explode because you know what you can do if you had just a little bit more money? I highly recommend the 4K edition, whether you get the U.S. edition from Lionsgate Limited, which is the cheaper version, or you want the big box set from Second Sight. It looks fantastic. You've got HDR implemented really nicely. Like nothing stands out to like, oh, that just looks like, they blew out the light or the blood is too red or anything. No, I think colors are very natural. I think especially some of the outdoor scenes, the colors are very, to use the word robust. They're just, the greens are like thick green, if that's a descriptive word for a color. Anyway, it also has a new Dolby Atmos soundtrack, which sounds fantastic. There was a few things where you're in a room and things happen, but it's loud enough that it would have echoed off the ceiling and you hear that. There's they shoot crossbows towards the beginning of the film, and those are flying around the room. Dolby Atmos soundtrack, highly recommended. So $29.99 currently if the sale's still going on the Lionsgate Limited site, or $45-50 plus import and shipping and all that from Second Sight. And there are some local shops that carried it, but they're running out of it. I would highly recommend the Atomic movie store if you haven't tried that. I think they still have copies of this. They're about $44, $45, and you can get free shipping at $50. So just saying, they import a lot of things and somehow you get to pay the same price without the incredible shipping and import fees and stuff like that. I love Atomic Movie Store. But anyway, you're next. Pick up either 4K edition. If you like horror movies and you like this one in particular, it looks better than the $1 million budget would lead you to believe. Really enjoyed the film. Really enjoyed the 4K. I got more podcasts on the way, more drone videos, and my next movie I'm going to watch is Batman, the Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson. Yes, I haven't watched it over 20 years. I'm kind of excited, so if you want to hear what I think about it, that'll be coming in the next couple of days. Thank you for listening to a podcast. That's a really cool thing in modern times. Please like, share, subscribe, however you feel moved, and have a spectacular day.